When will you learn some ethics, Jungkook? Jungkook froze mid-ruffling his damp hair as her piercing gaze bored into him. Her hand resting firmly on her hips, he rolled his eyes. Now, what did I do? He asked, running to face her reflection in the mirror. What did you not do? That's more like it, she retorted with irritation. Look at this mess. I just found out your short stuff under the pillow. So what? It's my room, he replied casually, running his finger through his unruly hair. You're forgetting I live in this room with you now, she said, raising her eyebrow. And? What do you mean by and? You know how much I hate living in this mess of yours? He turned to face her, fully, a smirk playing on his lips. And whose problem is that, sweetheart? Certainly not mine. Jungkook, don't test my patience or I will complain your mom. Go do it. You think I'm afraid of her or something? She took a deep breath, her mood already raining in the morning. So you won't clean your room? He smirked, shaking his head. Nope, if you have a problem, clean it yourself. Yun crossed her arms over her chest. In case you are forgetting, I'm your wife, not your maid. He scoffed. Funny, you don't act like one. All you do is nag and complain. Yun clenched her jaw, trying to keep her temper in check, because you give me plenty reasons to. Whatever, he murmured loud enough for her to hear, and turned back to look at his reflection in the mirror. Jungkook? He ignored her, whistling to himself as he brushed his hair with a comb, acting like she didn't call him just yet. Alright then. She narrowed her eyes. You're really taking me lightly. I'll burn your claws. If I see one more piece of your mess laying around, I won't hesitate. He stopped as he snapped his head towards her. You are really annoying. Stop nagging me all the time. You need to learn some basic manners, and until you will learn them, I will keep nagging you. Good luck with that, princess. He winked and tossed the towel in her direction. He swiftly caught it before it could hit her in the face, and watched him in annoyance as he walked out of the room. He's really annoying, I swear. Yun and Jungkook were sitting across each other at the dining table, along with Mr. and Mrs. June. The atmosphere was surprisingly peaceful, a rare moment. Yun speared a piece of broccoli with her fork and chewed, and Jungkook shuffled his food into his mouth, his attention drifting between his plate and his spoon. Did you get everything from your house, sweetie? Yes, Mom, I did get everything. That's good, but if you need anything, don't hesitate to ask him, okay? I was thinking this Sunday, you both should go for shopping, since I know you might need personal stuff. No, I don't really need anything. Jungkook brows furrowed when her first tail off. He finally looked up from his mobile, only to find his mother whispering something in her ear. He noticed how her cheeks reddened. She coughed a little, then he heard his mother chuckling. Mom, she whined. Jungkook narrowed his eyes. What did his mother say that she is looking all flushed? This is not really good, ladies. Include us in your conversation too. We were just discussing some girl stuff, that's all. She shrugged. And now it's settled that you two are going for shopping. Don't forget about it. Okay, Jungkook? And who said I want to spend my Sunday at the mall? He said annoyedly. His mother glared at him, which he didn't notice because his attention was on his mobile. I said that, and do you have a problem with it? I don't want to hear any excuses. Mom, my friends invited me to a party, which I can't leave. I'm not available. Jungkook, now don't forget you have a wife too. His jaw clenched as he snapped back at his mother. So what? Does it mean I have to sacrifice everything just because I'm married? Yuna's widened at his sudden raised voice. She hit him under the table. He glared at her. Mom, it's okay. I actually have some plans for this Sunday too, so we can go some another time. I just want the best of you two. Yun smiled, squeezing her hand. Jungkook licked his tongue. Yun glanced up from her book as Jungkook barked into the room. She watched silently as he threw himself onto the bed with a heavy sigh. You shouldn't have spoken to your mother like that. She spoke, breaking the silence between them. He sat up and remained silent, his gaze fixed on his shoes as he began to remove them. And she knew he was avoiding her again. Jungkook, I'm talking to you. You know how much mom would be hurt by her behavior? Jungkook turned around, looking at her and said, Don't start your lecture again. Don't raise your voice at me. She snapped at him, glaring, and his posture immediately humbled as he turned away to remove his other shoe. I didn't like it how you snapped at her. She just wants us to be happy. You need to be mindful when you are talking to your parents. I know. I just didn't want to cancel my plans. And you could have just said it politely without making it a big deal. I just don't understand why you have to be so disrespectful. She's your mother, you know. She might not have shown it, but she scared her too. Fine, I will apologize to her. He grabbed a nearby pillow and smacked it against his head, causing him to wince in surprise. Hey, what was that for? He exclaimed, rubbing the spot where she had hit him. You are not doing her a favor by apologizing. You need to stop being arrogant and don't go with that attitude to your mother. His jaw clenched. He hated being lectured, especially by her, but he knew she was right. I will apologize and I will do it properly. Now stop talking and focus on your book, nerdy. Her eyes flashed with irritation. Her grip tightening on the pillow in her hand, she smacked him with it, earning another glare from him as he read the spot where she hit him. Yun walked out of the classroom with a smile wide, spreading across her face as she clutched her books tightly in her hands. Adjusting her glasses, she paused in her tracks when she spotted Jungkook standing in the corner, his expression one of shock and confusion as he stared at a piece of paper in his hand. What is this? Jungkook said as he held out the paper, his eyes wide with disbelief. And frowed her brows, slightly concerned as she approached him. What happened? This can't be happening. No, this is a nightmare. Her heart raced as she snatched the paper out of Jungkook's hand, seeing his terrified expression, her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. But as she scanned the paper, her panic turned into confusion and then in disbelief. What is this? They both stared at each other until he spoke. I caught a C. I failed. He said, zoning out in his thoughts. Yoon had to audibly take a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down because she was actually about to smack the paper straight on his face with a hard slap. I thought you got some disease, report or something. I almost thought you were about to die. She exclaimed and he stared at her while scratching his nose. Yeah, well, failing a test is not less than a death to me. She couldn't help but snort at his dramatics. What a liar. You literally fail every test. You could have been buried deep under the ground at the start of the school when you first failed your test. He rolled his eyes. Very funny, nerdy. Why are you so serious? Nothing new, right? She said matter-of-factly. Jungkook felt like he was losing his mind standing there, getting frustrated as he glared at her. What? She continued, noticing his intense stare. Stop looking at me like I was getting bested the night before the exam. It's not funny, Ryan. My father warned me if I failed this test, he would ground me until finals are over. And you know, Dad, he always follow through with what he say. You are scared now. Could have studied when you had the chance. Ryan, shut up, he snapped. Stop putting salt on my wounds, help me. What do you want me to do, make this C and A or something? You know you are my parents' favorite. So, yeah, do me a favor this time, be useful for once. With that attitude of yours, Jungkook, I will not help you, keep sulking. Won't you help your husband? He said, blinking his eyes in attempt at an innocent expression only to earn an eye roll from her. You are not fooling anyone with that act, she retorted, unimpressed by his attempt to play victim card. His expression fell. You are so heartless. He couldn't believe he had to resort to begging like this in front of her, but he knew he had no other chance if he wanted to salvage his grades. I can't help you with that. Even if I want to, Dad would find out. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the principal has already complained to your father. Stop scaring me, okay? He snapped impatiently. I will work hard next time. I swear, just save me this time. Yeah, but what will I get in return? She asked casually. What do you want? Name it and I will do it. Yun raised an eyebrow. She knew she had the upper hand in this situation and she was not about to let it off the hook easily. She mused, tapping her chin thoughtfully. How about you offer me a favor, a big one? His brows furrowed in confusion. What kind of favor? Oh, you will find out soon. Enough, she replied, her smile widening at the look of apprehension in Jungkook's face. With a smile, she extended her hand towards him. Deal? He hesitated for a moment before finally reaching out to shake his hand. Deal. Joy freaking wine? His voice boomed as he burst into the room, the force of the door slamming shut behind him causing Wine to jump in fright. What the hell, Jungkook? She exclaimed, her hand flying to her chest as she tried to catch her breath. What did you tell my dad, huh? He ignored her reaction as he stalked towards her. You had one job to do, just one, you nerd, and you messed that up too. What did I do now? I did what you told me to. What did you tell him, huh? He demanded. He scolded me, grounded me for 20 freaking days, and he was saying something about you tutoring me. What the hell do you think you are? She winced at the volume of his voice, placing a hand over her ear to block out the what did I tell you about raising your voice at me? She snapped. Jungkook opened his mouth to respond, but then better, his cheek puffing angrily as he looked away, unable to meet her gaze. Listen here, Coconut Head. You should be thanking me for what I did for you, and here you are yelling at me? He bristled at her choice of words, his pride wounded by her insult. What did you do? Please elaborate. Because I, as usual, got the scolding. Your dad was going to completely ground you for a month. Yeah, I did tell him that you will do better next time, but your dad, he said that he had heard that dialogue many times, and this time he wouldn't spare you. So I offered that you would do your best in finals, and I took the responsibility. I told him that I will tutor you the subject you are weak in, but he was not convinced much, so he just lessened 10 days from your punishment. Now you added one more problem to my list. What do you mean you took my responsibility? Do I look like a kid to you? Well, you surely act like one. He shook his head in disbelief, unable to comprehend her audacity. As he walked towards his chair, muttering whatever, her lips tightened into a thin line as she watched him go, ungrateful. His frustration peaked when he tried to open his laptop and found it password protected. What is this? He glanced up from the book, her expression unreadable as she met his gaze, then flickered her eyes towards the laptop before turning to her reading. Why did you put a password on my laptop? He asked in irritation. Her attention still fixed on her book. Who told you to touch anything related to me? He snapped. Why are you so annoying? Remove this password, he demanded as he strolled towards her, extending the laptop. You're grounded, remember? She replied calmly. His jaw tightened, his frustration peaked as he threw the laptop on the bed beside him. But she remained unfazed, her expression unchanged as he continued to read her book. He moved to the other side of the bed and lay down, grabbing the blanket and pulling it over himself with a harsh tug. She blinked in surprise as he covered himself with the blanket, leaving her with nothing but cold air of room. Hey, she protested. What do you think you are doing? Jungkook ignored her, burying himself deeper under the blanket as he tried to block out the world around him. Give me back the blanket. Jungkook held on tight, refusing to release his hold on the blanket as he huddled beneath its warmth. He knew he was being childish, but in that moment he didn't care. Why are you even sleeping here? It's my bed. I can sleep wherever I want. But Yoon was not about to back down. No, you can't. Just come in here and take over, she argued, and she tugged at the blanket with all her strength. But before she could ret, Jungkook moved with the speed of lightning, grabbing the blanket and rolling on the bed. She squealed in surprise as he pulled her into his arms, wrapping her tightly in the blanket as he attempted to suffocate her. Jungkook, I can't breathe, she gasped as she struggled to free herself, feeling suffocated by the weight of his body pressing down on her. Their faces were inches apart, their breaths mingling in the space between them as she met his gaze. There was something different she had not seen before, and she can't pinpoint what it was. His hand slowly reached up, brushing against her cheek. She could feel her heart beating in her chest. It was not racing like crazy, just faster than usual. Then, without breaking eye contact, he reached her for her glasses, slowly removing them and setting them aside. Then his eyes wandered around her face. A slight shiver ran down her spine, but it soon turned into a panic as his gaze fixed on her lips. Let me go. And she mentally scolded herself of how her voice was low, but the way he was staring at her, it was hard. Then he heard her words, but he did heard it, when his lips slightly curled into a smirk. Instead of releasing her, his grip tightening ever so slightly, trapping her beneath in a cage of his making. Oh, what's the matter, sweetheart? He taunted, can't handle a little closeness. Her cheeks blushed at his teasing. Let go, Jungkook, she repeated, her tone firm this time, but Jungkook only chuckled in response, his grip tightening ever so slightly as he leaned closer. his breath warm against her skin. His eyes remained fixed on him, thinking of, why would I do that? I'm quite comfortable right where I am, and I'm one scream away from making you grounded for a whole year, so better let me go when you have a chance. Oh my god, I'm shaking. He mocked her, and she tried to free herself again, failing because she can't move an inch of her body. This is not the time to play, just let me go. Oh, and you want to go? She nodded her head, trying to push him off. Then give me a kiss, he said as he leaned in close. His lips strangely close to her, and maybe then I'll consider letting you go. Her eyes widened in shock, almost bulging out of her socket. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Was he serious? No way, this is not funny. Who said I was joking? I'm serious. Her eyes remained fixed on him, thinking of a way to escape from him. He was pushing all her right buttons because she started to feel frustrated. But what frustrated her even more was the way her heart seems to be there, beating faster at the mere thought of his lips on her. He watched her with a smirk wide, enjoying the way he was able to rile her up. He waited, expecting her to retaliate with another insult or curse him in every language she knew. But to his surprise, he froze when he felt her soft lips pressing against his own. With just as quickly as it began, she pulled away, leaving him stunned at the speechless. What the hell? He exclaimed as he rolled back on his bed, freeing her from his grasp. He stared at him with wide eyes as she removed the blanket around her. What? She yelled back too. Why would you kiss me? He snapped his ass, nodding as he stared at her. Yun shot him a look of disbelief. Is this boy for real? You asked for it. I was just messing around. I didn't actually mean for you to. Never mind. He strode from inside the bathroom, slamming the door shut. Yun blinked her eyes at his childish behavior. Was he high or something? She mentally slapped herself for actually pulling this stunt. Yun, let's go somewhere. Yun turned her head towards him as she placed her books into a bag. What do you mean? His eyes sparkled with excitement as he leaned in closer. I mean somewhere fun, like a club or something. Yun's gaze narrowed and he rolled his eyes. Stop giving me those scary eyes. It's been 12 days, man. 12 freaking days. I have not gone anywhere except this school and my home. I'm honestly getting bored. And if I didn't do anything fun, I might die with depression. Jungkook, stop being dramatic. You think I'm being dramatic? I feel so lonely, he said, wiping his non-existent tears, but she had no effect on his face. Well, if you don't think about me, think about yourself. If I die of depression, you will be a widow at a young age. She snorted, pressing her lips into a thin line, not to burst into laughter on his face. Jungkook, you are being ridiculous. I highly doubt you will die of depression from not going out for 12 days. You never know. It's a serious risk. Dad will know. You can make an excuse. He won't doubt you. Just drop this. I won't lie. He groaned out loud. He can't believe he actually have to beg her for something. Here comes Miss Goody Two Shoes. Find something else to do that doesn't involve going out at nights, he said, ignoring his face and mocked, slamming the door shut as he brushed past him. Jungkook clenched his fist, then relaxed. His neck crept into his lips as an idea struck his mind. Yun was brushing her hair, preparing for bed, when she felt a pair of arms encircled her waist. Startled, she flinched at the sudden wet content of his body against her. Glancing, she met his gaze through the reflection in the mirror. What do you think you are doing? Her tone was one of surprise and irritation. She tried to wiggle out of his grasp, but he held her tight. Just thought I to give my lovely wife a good night hug. She rolled her eyes, unimpressed by his attempt at affection. What is wrong with you? Why are you suddenly being clingy? What's wrong with me being clingy with my wife? She couldn't ignore the flutter in her chest at the term wife, even though they were far from being a lovey-dovey. Stop, you are going to make me wet, she snapped irritably as he traced his wet finger along her cheek, but instead of backing off, his smirk widened. That's the whole point, sweetie. he quipped, leaning in closer until his lips brushed against her hair. Cut it out, she muttered, attempting to slide his hand away. Since you refuse to go with me and I don't have anything special to do, why don't we have some fun? Said his voice low and suggestive. Her stomach did a whole flip inside at his proposition. She knew his intentions were merely to provoke her, to push her button, but she relented and agreed to accompany him somewhere. This is not going to work on me, she agreed firmly, placing her brush on the table. A smirk tugged at the corner of his lips as she turned in his heart. And you talking about fun time when you screamed like a girl when I kissed you? His smirk faltered, his confidence waning as he suddenly felt acutely aware of her close proximity. He could feel the warmth of her touch as her fingers trailed lightly along his cheeks, and he can't ignore the sudden flutter in his chest. Damn, what's wrong with him? He didn't expect his teasing would backfire him. I was not prepared for that, okay? Sure, keep telling yourself that. She patted his chest, easily slipping out of his hold. By the way, what was all about that? What did you want from me? She settled onto the bed, watching Jungkook run her hand through his damp hair. My friends invited me to a party. Jungkook, I told you, listen, everyone will be there. I can't miss these parties. Come with me, it will be fun. I don't want to go. When? He whined her name, looking like a kicked puppy, and she closed her eyes for a moment before meeting his gaze. Fine, stop whining like a child. When is the party? His eyes lit up on Friday night. If we get caught, it's on you, and I promise I won't ever take your side in front of that. But Jungkook didn't seem to hear her last words, already too preoccupied with planning how much he would drink that night. In her past, Van was engrossed in games with her friends. She had already taken a few shots, not unfamiliar with the sensation of alcohol burning down her throat. She didn't particularly enjoy the taste, but she experienced her fair share of drinking on her 18th birthday with her friends. She can maintain a mature demeanor in most situations, can be a bookworm, but when it comes to having fun, she was more willing than to lose. All right, Keenan, truth or dare? Dare. I dare you to go and flirt with the bartender. Lena laughed and nodded, getting up to complete her dare. When she came back, the bottle spun again, stopping on Van. Jake then turned to her, raising an eyebrow. And you, truth or dare? Dare. He grinned mischievously. I dare you to go and kiss the hottest guy in the room. Ah, what? She exclaimed nervously, glancing around the crowded place. Why the hell those were dares? Wait, there's a lot. Why don't you kiss our school's hottest guy? I get the bad boy. Even followed their gaze, landing on Jungkook, who was on the dancing floor, completely unaware of the attention he was receiving.